Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing amazing. Let's get started. The conversation I want to have with you today is about dealing with objections. Now, it matters not who you are or where you are going to have objections. And what I really want you to understand is how objections become the gateway to the solution. So, let me get my notes up here. How's everybody doing this morning? If you're on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at this morning? Scale of 1 to 10, where are you at this morning? I think, let's see. Let's see here. I've got different notes. Okay. I think this is it. So the objections that I want to talk about are the two big ones, right? I don't have time, I don't have money. So if you've ever heard of those objections from your prospects, drop a T or drop a M in the chat. Time and money. I don't have time, I don't have money, right? And the reason I want to find out if that makes sense is because it pretty much happens to all of us. So the reason that I came up with this conversation, the reason that I've created these trainings, and some of you have heard me talk about it. It's real easy to deal with somebody when they say I have no time or I have no money. What typically happens is that we get into the process of wanting to answer those objections with logic. And logic requires us to have facts, requires us to overcome the emotional distraught we feel of losing a customer. Does that make sense? So, one of the first things I want you to think about is when somebody says, I don't have time, what does that typically do? Now, I kid around and say that somebody wrote a book somewhere. I don't know who wrote the book, and I don't think there's a book written, but this is just a way I deal with it. That somebody actually wrote a book, and in writing this book, what they found is that this book was how to deal with to give objections to all network marketers so they stop asking them questions. And the first one is, hey, I don't have any money. I love your product. I love your service. I love the thing you have. I just don't have any money. And the reason that I kind of giggled now is because I learned a long time ago in understanding human potential and human psychology. I figured out a long time ago how to help somebody kind of hold the mirror up for them and let them see their own response. So when somebody says to me, I don't have time, I don't try to convince them they have time. You know, there's a phrase, a response that's typically have, well, if you don't have time, then this is exactly what you need to have more time. That doesn't really help with the cognitive dissonance that's going on inside their mind. That makes sense? So I want to understand the psychology of a human being. I want to understand what's going to make them want to move forward, not have to move forward. Too many people have to decision. They have to go to work. They have to pick the kids up. They have to fill in the blank, work late. Yet when they go on vacation, they want to go on vacation. I get to go on vacation. When you first start dating, oh, I get to go out tonight again. We're going to see each other again. So somebody says to me, I don't have time. First thing I ask him is, time for what? That creates a cognitive dissonance. That moves them out of me being the problem to them solving a solution. It's not a problem in their mind when I ask them the question, time for what? They agreed they do not have something. Does this make sense? They said, I don't have time. I'm only asking them time for what? We are both assuming, or at least I used to assume, that they didn't have time to do my business. That's what they were saying. That's what they implied is time, right? If we just take time as a chunk, this time is being used for something. What were you going to use it for? I'm not saying you need to have more time, or my putting that time with me is going to give you more time. Although that's what it's supposed to do, right? Give them time freedom and money freedom. We just have to define what time is. Drop a 1 if you've been taught this, drop a 2 if you've never been taught this before, if you've never heard this before. Some of you have heard this before, and it's probably because of me. But if you've not heard this before, then you might want to pay close attention to it, because in order for you to have things you've never had before, you may have to hear things you've never heard before. So I don't have time. Man, I love it. I just don't have time right now. And I stop and ask them the question, time for what? Very simply, you and I both know what I'm asking them time for. But they gave me a time. They don't have time for this. That doesn't make sense. And I want to get an answer to it. I'd like to uncover what it is they think they need time for. I hope I'm beating this tree and getting it to ring a sound that you are starting to understand. We have to define how much time they think they need, what they think they need the time to do. Most people, when they give you an objection, is because they really don't want to have to do the thing. So if they think they have to go talk to their friends and family for time, or they got to sell a product in this time, or they got to go learn an ingredient list in this time, I don't know what they think they have to spend time on. Do you know what they think they have to spend time on? I'm going to say you don't. For as many years as I've been doing this, I still don't know what they think. I'm often surprised when I ask that question. So the first thing is, what do you need time for? Well, time for what? Well, to do the business. And then I ask them a very emotional question. See, that's a very logical answer. I don't have time. That's logical. There's no emotion to that. It's a great answer. It kills most salespeople, most hobby people. If this is a hobby, you'll just get the wind knocked out of your sail. If you're a professional, and Zig Ziglar said sales profession is the transference of enthusiasm, you'll ask them, time to do what? And you'll watch their head, you'll watch the gears in their brain go and smoke pour out their ear, because they've never had that response to their I have no time. So somebody says to me, I have no time. I said, man, I get that. Time for what? Now, they have to own the time, don't they? Time for what? Very gently, very calmly, very comfortably, very, very respectfully. Help me understand, time for what? Well, to do the business. Why would you want to have time? If you had time, why would you want to use it to do the business? If you had time, not saying you did, if you had time, why would you want to use it to build a business? A business, not mine, just a business. Well, I want to create and you'll hear them. So what you're doing is you're taking them from fast thinking to slow thinking. Write that down. Fast thinking to slow thinking. And the reason you take them to slow thinking is when you hear them start to stutter. Because they're trying to throw words onto the fast-moving track of, I don't got time and good, I'm going to be done with this presentation. To really kind of forcing them, nudging them strongly with love and courage and empathy into a process of slow thinking, slowing down, cognitive dissonance. Why don't I have time? Maybe I need to have time. This is them saying it all at a subconscious level, which is why they're stuttering, trying to find an answer. Well, I guess the thing is, why would I want to build a business? You're trying to slow them down. Hey, it's okay. Take it easy. Slow down. It's all right. Let's investigate that. Why would you want the business? Now, 20 minutes ago, when you started the conversation, they told you they wanted it for money. They wanted it to pay off their debt or their credit cards, or they wanted it to buy their mom a house or to get themselves a car or a new tattoo. I don't know. But they told you this 20 minutes ago, and it's not the most truthful reason they want the business. It is a logical reason why they want the business. You are now shifting them out of logic into emotion, and you have to be gentle. You have to give them space. You have to lower your voice. You have to slow down your pace. So you give them space. You give them silence. And one of the things that people most avoid in their presentations is silence. The reason is because they feel they have to keep everything going, because if there's no silence, you get uncomfortable. I don't get uncomfortable in silence. I love silence. Maybe one of your gratitude blessing sessions, 10 gratitude blessings, is why do you love silence? Silence is to move them from number 1 to number 2, slow thinking. Does that make sense? So understanding all of this, you've got to now begin to give yourself space. So tell me why you'd want, so what would you want a business for? See, now it's not any time. I don't have time. Time for what? Time to build a business. It's not about time more. Now it's about the business. You get it? Do you see how we took time away? Time is no longer the objection. The business is the objection, which means if I don't have time, they don't understand the business. At least the way you understand it. Does that make sense? So now they say, I ask them, so why would you want to build a business? Why would you want to use your precious time to build a business? Well, because I want, now you start to hear the real things I want. You start to hear the real objections. What they're truly saying is I don't know how to do this. I don't know if I have the time to figure out how to do this. I don't know if I'm smart enough to do this. I don't know if I can learn it in a fast enough time to get my goals, because I'm under a time crunch. I got to get some money this weekend. So when you ask them, what business time to build a business, why would you want to build a business? And then they'll give you an idea. Then they'll give you a conversation. Then they'll give you an understanding. Does that make sense? And then when they give that to you, you can say, hey, listen, would that be important enough to get started now? Would you have time to do that? If I could help you leverage your time. See, most people don't understand that this is a teamwork business. Most people don't understand that all things they buy are a teamwork business. I buy Pop-Tarts from Walmart. We're still in business together when I get the Pop-Tarts home. Oh my God, you buy Pop-Tarts? No, it's an expression. Before I get people pinging me on, oh, could you eat Pop-Tarts? But the business we're in together with is that when I go to open the Pop-Tarts, the damn Pop-Tarts are good. They're not all broken. They're not past date. They're not fill in the blank. We're still in business together. Walmart still has to fulfill their part of the deal. Does that make sense? So somebody asks me, I don't have time. Hey, I get it. Everyone's busy. I'm curious. Head tilt, curious. Not like I'm a police person. I'm going to keep my head in. Part of this is your body language as well. I'm curious. right? So you take the threat away, you're turning away, you're not looking directly at them, but kind of your eyes are curious. You're curious as opposed to, hey, why are you being an idiot? You told me you don't have money. You told me you're broke. You told me you're sick. Why don't you got to do this? That's what it sounds like when most people try to deal with the objection of, I don't have time. Now, there's ways to set the stage in the very beginning. Hey, listen, could we agree that you've got time to do something? My goal is to see if we can't make this a more valuable something than other things you're doing. Would that be okay? Right. So there's language around that. But right now, most people aren't sophisticated enough to get to that beginning part of the conversation. I'm helping my mastermind do that. But the question is when somebody says, okay, so let's go to I don't have money. That seems to be a bigger, I don't have money. Totally get it. Meet them where they're at. Totally get it. I'm curious, money for what? Now, we just talked about the $300 to get enrolled, or the $150 for the auto ship, or whatever it is. We just talked about money. See, they understand psychology better than us. The people who object understand psychology better than us, and they don't really understand it. It's just they know there's rules. If I say up, you say down. I say in, you say out. I say hot, you say cold. I say I don't have money, you go, oh, you don't have money. Can I buy it for you? So when somebody says I don't have money, say, totally get it. Let me ask you, I'm curious. Money for what? And you watch their head go. You literally watch their face reframe. See, this is all about reframing. I'm reframing what money is. Too many of us assume, and we're not wrong, but it's a weak assumption. It's a very shallow excuse. If they've spent any time with you at all, if they've agreed to, do I have your permission to help? Do I have your permission to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable? Do I have your permission to take you out of that uncomfortable feeling? This is question number 2. I don't have money. Question number 2, for what? What do you need money for? What do you think you need money for? And then you let them start the buying process. What do you mean the buying process? They now have to buy what money is for. They are creating their own solution, their own answer to their own objection. I'm not going to fight you. Listen, a man convinced against his will is of the same mindset still. I think Emerson said that, or Franklin, or somebody, some great individual said that. Money for what? Well, to buy your products. Look of confusion on my head. Why would you want to buy my products? See what we're doing? We're playing the 7 levels. I'm curious, but I didn't say you'd have to buy my products. Why would you want to buy the products? If you had the money, if you had the extra money, you'd buy the products. That's what you're telling me. Why would you want to buy the products? Well, I need something to sell. Man, I apologize. You realize that you're not selling from your inventory. The company holds all the inventory. Doesn't your company, I don't know one of your companies that would require you to have to invest in a whole bunch of products to have it on your shelf so you could sell from your shelf. Your company has overnight shipping. Does this make sense? Reason to buy so why would you want to buy the products? Well, because they'll speed up the time. So when I use this in traditional sales. I use this in selling mechanical seals and gaskets and packing. Well, we just don't have the money right now. Money for what? Well, we don't have the budget right now, right? In bigger purchases, it's called a budget, not money. We don't have a budget. When you're using somebody else's money, it's called a budget. We don't have a budget for that right now. Hold on. I missed something. A budget for what? Well, a budget to buy these kinds of products. If you had a budget for it, why would you make a budget for these kinds of products? You see where this is? You've got to literally understand it's not about you. This is called cognitive dissonance. You're now forcing them to have an argument, literally an argument in their own mind, and having them confirm their objection or deny its validity. Good Lord, nobody ever told me there was all this involved in an objection. Sorry. So is this making sense? So those are the basics. Those are just the beginning conversations of dealing with objections. I don't have time. I'm curious. Time for what? And you watch them because they thought they had just slayed the dragon and laid you wide open and said, there's no reason we don't have this conversation ends here, ends now. We've killed the dragon. Sorry. You swung a sword in my general direction. You didn't even hit me. I'm curious. Money for what? Time for what? Just practice that. Say that. Well, how does that feel in your body? Hey, I don't have any time. Say it. I'm curious. Time for what? Feels odd, doesn't it? Because you have a pattern when you have a conversation with somebody. Live, right, live. When you have this conversation with people, you're talking about them purchasing your products. That's a logical decision. They cancel you with emotion. They trigger your emotion. Oh, they don't have time. What am I supposed to do? I need this person in my business. I really want them in my business. They'd be so good in my business. So very simply, time for what? Money for what? I'm curious, what would you need money for? And sometimes I will literally cross my arms because I am being a little defensive, but I'm not taking their objection. Psychologically, it says, oh, he doesn't believe my objection, right? When somebody folds their arms and I'm not saying do this. I would encourage you to have some practice in doing it. So it would look something like this. Time for what? I'm curious. Tell me, time for what? What do you need time for? Psychologically, I've put them on the defense where they had put me on the defense. But I do it loving and caring. I'm curious. Time for what? And as soon as they start talking, my arms come down. Maybe you've heard this before. I don't know. So those are my basic fundamentals, is to take it out of a logical, I don't have time. Well, that makes logical sense. If you don't have time, then we should stop this conversation. Doesn't that make sense? That makes logical sense. If you don't have time, we should stop. We don't have time. You should stop. I don't have money. I guess we're done. Yet if you go one itty bitty step further, hey, listen, I get it. Here's something I say. Here's a phrase I say to let them know it's okay to have time or to have money. I love that answer. Some of the biggest, most successful people in our business started with that same phrase. They said, I don't have time or I don't have money. So it sounds like you might be in some good company with some of the most successful people in our business. I'm curious, what do you need? What do you think you need money for? And so now we start connecting the dots. We start the chain. And we understand, and we'll find out where the chain is broken. Is this making sense? So that's my conversation. I want to try to keep these to a half hour. I could go do a whole 2-day challenge. I could do 3-4 hours on understanding the psychology of objections. I probably will. But right now, we're going to wrap it up. So questions, comments, thoughts. What'd you learn? What'd you like? What's your takeaways? What'd you hear new? What'd you hear different?
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Wheezy, and then we'll go to AJ.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. You
Did I
spoke.
interrupt
Way to go,
you?
girl.
Anyway, I just in the last couple of days, it's been profound. Is the word tone? My tone of voice and the word. The words can be perfect, but if the tone is not right, man, it can just spiral. And there have been times where it's my tone and it'll send somebody off. And I've just sort of, I've had the practice recently to say, hey, tell me what you heard. And I went, oh crap, that was my tone. So I need to, is it a connection with my heart? I mean, what's going on?
Well, the key is that when you have do you have grandbabies?
I have a 14-year-old grandbaby.
Okay, so you have a 14-year-old grandbaby. Do you speak to him different than you speak to your kids?
Not since he became 14.
Okay. So when he was 6, did you
Oh yeah.
yeah. So why? Why did you speak to him different? Doesn't the 6-year-old version of your kid still exist? Doesn't the 6-year-old version of your husband still exist? Doesn't the 6-year-old
Sure.
version of your prospect? So why do we treat them different than a 6-year-old? Because the emotion we have towards them.
Mm.
I love all of you. I know that sounds weird, and I know we say it. It doesn't really sound weird, but if you understood the level of love that I have for each of you instantly, here's the way I switched my understanding of humanity. I will love you instantly. It's your job to prove me wrong.
That's wow, that's a great approach.
I love you from the hey, hi, how are you? Oh my gosh, what a pleasure to meet you. I fall in love with you instantly because you can't break my heart. You can only prove I was wrong. And I'm okay with being wrong. I don't like it, but I'm okay with it. In the beginning, I didn't like it at all. Can you believe that SOB? They just, are you kidding me? They just, how could they do that to me? They never do it to me. I do it to me.
Right. Yeah, my curiosity was how is it that have a tone when I don't think I have that in my
It's a
heart.
defense mechanism.
Exactly. And
It's a
so
yeah, that's why we have to record ourselves, and you need to put your phone on and record yourself while you're doing a presentation.
that's a good idea.
Really shocking. The
Well,
reason I have you do it is the reason why do you think I record this? I put it out to YouTube because there's times that I'll still go watch the replay and go, ugh, what was I thinking? But that doesn't happen very much anymore because I set my intentions. I practice this before do you realize how many times I've done this and I still practice this morning at 5 a.m.?
that bingo bonus practice before.
What are they going to say? What's going to be the
Oh,
objection? What's going to be their resistance? If I know them as an avatar, there's somebody in my avatar. They may not be my perfect avatar. I go, hey, listen, I love you. They go, I love you. You ready to get started? Yeah, I'm ready to get started. I'll buy the biggest package. I thought you would. Let's go. That's my perfect avatar. Those are rare and few and far between. They exist, but I'm dealing with somebody. My second level avatar is somebody who has resistance. And what they're hoping for is that I have the courage to walk with them, to go through hell with them. If you're going through hell, just keep going. Let me help you guide you. Stop going in circles through hell. You're going in circles through your own hell. Can I help you get now? Some people want to stay in hell. That's their story. Do I have your permission to take you out of the uncomfortable feeling? No. Okay. Game over. Anything else before I go? Are you okay if your misery changes?
Question. Oh, this is awesome. Thank you. I needed this.
Cool.
I needed this. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
so what did you learn?
Practice.
Okay. What did you
Set
like?
an intention and set the intention and practice. There's a, and this is, I'm realizing this is a habit of just flying in and winging it.
Now, Bill Gove, the father of public speaking, easy for you to say, public speaking said, listen carefully. This will make sense now. It looks like I'm winging all this stuff, right? It comes off the top of my head and oh my gosh, this, that, or the other. Bill Gove said this, be a puppet. Never, never let him see the strings. I have so many canned responses and phrases and comebacks and questions because I've puppeted myself. But you're not seeing the string. Be a puppet. Don't let them see the strings. Too many of you are still you're trying to put attach your strings while you're doing the presentation. That's a little obvious. That's a little obvious. Hang on, I got to get this string over here. Okay. What did you ask me? What was the thing you grabbed? What? I don't. Oh, hold on. Oh, I got to get my head going. Be a puppet. Never let them see the strings.
Love it. And yeah, and that's easily done when practiced.
Yep. And it doesn't have to be 20 years of practice.
No, it doesn't.
No, in intense practice. And then what happens is because you get very good at this, that overflows into something you've never done before with a level of confidence and a level of capability that it looks like you know what the hell you're doing. And you and I both know you don't know what the hell you're doing. You're literally winging it from your heart.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
You're welcome. Questions, comments, thoughts? What'd you learn? What'd you like? What's your takeaways?
Well, hey there.
Hey there, hi there, ho there.
Good morning. Hey there, hi there, ho there. How's it going?
Outstanding.
Outstanding. Awesome. I want to say thank you for this input. I'm always looking forward to and acting childish around you presenting sales lessons. I just love your input because I learned the aggressive sales when I came up 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, when I just started when I found out about sales, right? And it was the aggressive sales, it was pushy, it was always with a clinch, being in a clinch with a client and always trying to fight your way through the sale and so on.
Yep.
Then I met you in April 2020, and you had some interesting inputs for me, for a lack of a better word. And I started incorporating stuff like this, stuff that I learned from you, like this, like the 3 questions, like the just making sure that I kind of go from being in a battle with a client. When I just started out in sales, I was looking at every single sales call as a battle. And if I win, if I close the sale at the end of the phone call, I won the battle, right? And then I learned better. I know better now. And I know that it's supposed to be teamwork and not a battle. So when I started doing that, I immediately got a job at client retention, so I wasn't doing conversion anymore. They moved me over to client retention, and obviously when you're presenting people with multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of investment opportunities, the first thing they're gonna say is they don't have no money. They don't they think it's risky. They think they're gonna lose. Whatever. Uh, Usually when you're presenting this to clients, they kind of open the book of objections and they go page by page and they're like, oh, okay, let me go to the page number 4, let me go to page number 6, right? But somehow I managed to find success with your approach. And
No,
then
no, say
shocker,
it's not true. Sucker.
shocker. And I was able to
I'm glad it worked somewhere because I've never had it work for me.
somewhere it worked out apparently. And I knew it wasn't luck because I was able to do that multiple times. For example, I would meet the person for the first time over the phone, obviously, but it would be my first ever conversation with them, and I would have them invest $50,000 or $100,000. Or it would be my fifth or sixth conversation, I would have them invest $500,000. I'd have them invest, take out a mortgage or whatever for them to participate. And then 2 months later, when they've made 20 or 30% on their refinancing the mortgage, and they pull the money back, they give the money to the bank, back to the bank,
Right.
and they have like 30% of $1 million remortgage. They're like, what the hell was this? And I'm like, this is investing, right? So I learned better, and I want to thank you for that, because what I understood, and by the way, here's a question. I wanted to do NLP.
Yep.
And I applied for a course, and they told me I was too young to do that for some reason. And I was just wondering, what's your input on intake on NLP with professional sales? Does that correlate in any way, or how does that work?
Absolutely. The challenge is when you start to have the key to somebody's mind, you have to have the intention of absolute purity. And most people who find NLP as a solution to help them in their sales don't have the purest of hearts. They mean good intentions. This will help me sell better. This will help me convince my clients better. It absolutely will. It is an unfair advantage. It is going to a knife fight with a machine gun. The challenge is buyer's remorse is going to be rampant. Unless you have an etheric connection, an energetic connection beyond who you're speaking to. You connect to them in the energy realm, and you have the permission. This is why I say I have permission to do no harm. It may sound like I'm kicking your ass all over the place, but it is because it is to do no harm. What is happening to you in the moment is harmful to your future, and I'm standing in the way of it. I'm becoming the 700-foot tall giant that stands between you and the pain you're dealing with. I'm going to help you rewire the pain. But if I don't have the purest of intentions, I can easily and unconsciously manipulate you because I have my goal. My DMP is to do $500,000 in coaching. With the skills I have, do you know how not hard that is to go do $500,000 to get people who want to create $1 million and tell them they're guaranteed to do it because I know in 6 months they're going to can out, they're going to ring the bell like in the Navy SEAL program, and they're going to quit on themselves, and I've got all their money. I'm not paying you if you quit. I'm only paying you if all of what I teach you doesn't work, and I know what I teach you work. But I have to understand that you have this, that I can keep your flame lit long enough for you to start your own fire. So I understand NLP. I use language. I use skill sets that I have to make sure your fire keeps burning, not that I keep winning. So I'm not against NLP. What I'm against is they ask you to make the promise. You have to promise to use this for good. And everybody has their fingers crossed behind their back going, I promise, I promise, I promise. So it's a great education to understand NLP. Neuro-linguistic programming, the NEST program, neuroenergetic self-sculpting. What I'm teaching you, when I say, money for what? That's programming. I am unlocking the programming that you have that you think money is an objection. I'm activating the neurons in your brain to deal with a logical objection in an emotional way. And that's what NLP does. Most of the time, it gets you to move them from logic to emotion, because people buy on logic. They hold the buy. They keep the buy based on emotions, which comes back to what I tell you. NLP is bragging, allowing them a place to brag. That's what NLP does. And I say all the time, what's the reason they're going to brag on you? What? Most people can't answer that. Even today, they can't answer that. Why? So when people work with you, why do they brag on working with you? I mean, I don't know what you're doing. I'm just selling them some nutritionals. Yeah, but they're going to brag. They're either going to brag positively or negative. Say how those are expensive. They're so expensive. So they're bragging negatively. Or my God, I feel so good. That's bragging positive. They're always going to, and if they're not bragging about you, you ain't even in the game. So does that help?
Yes, that helps tremendously. Like I said, I'll always love your input because it seems, I don't know if many people do professional sales here, but there's a lot of science behind sales. I've studied that for the last 5 or 6 years, and I'm just kind of scraping the ice at the tip of the iceberg, because there's just so much to sales, and I love it. I love doing sales, and I realized hanging out with Sean that proximity is power, because all of the little things that they teach you in professional selling, the framing, the objections, and how to handle the person, how to peel the onion, and how to do all these techniques, uh, you kind of do that, and you incorporate all of that into a couple of questions. I knew from my first day at my professional sales role that questions is the key to sales, but just as you said, the tonality and what kind of a question. And questions are very powerful. I learned that from you. Questions are extremely powerful in any kind of interaction with a person,
They're
especially
unfair.
in sales.
They're
Yeah,
unfair.
yeah,
If you get
definitely.
good at questions, they become you're literally hitting people with a bazooka when they're shooting at you with spitballs. And the challenge is that you can get good at questions and now watch this. This is going to crush them. Watch this. This will make them cry. Why would I want you to cry? So when you understand, Brad said it changes the way you look at things. Questions are the key. You want better answers? Ask better questions. You want better answers from your prospect. What's the answer? What's the ultimate answer you want from your prospect? Yes. Yes, that's the answer. So if you're not getting that, you got to ask better questions to get the yes. Period. End of story. Full stop. Next page. If you're not getting a yes, it's because your questions suck. Your questions get you to a no. Well, I don't ask a lot of questions. Thank you, Don Pardo. Please tell them their departing gifts. They have just won the no game. And people are told, go for no. Why would you want to go for no? I want to go for KNOW, which in English is no. But if they don't know NO, they can't know KNOW. So I'm all about the no, just not the no that they tell you for. Go write a page. Lisa Grossman, love her to death, says, go get a list of 500 no's. Write down a 500 no's. That's just to toughen your skin. Why not toughen your brain instead of toughen your resistance? I'm okay with it. You'll get 500 no's, but it won't be because you got rejected. It's because they were never ready to get started. How many no's do you think you get that people are ready to get started and you're like, oh, this would be so good for them? So then that's not a good no. Just saying. Who else? Thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways?
Thank you, Don Draper. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're
Really,
welcome,
thank you.
welcome. Love you, brother. We have a call today, don't we? Oh, no, Tuesday. Hang on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Uh,
Oh,
this
wow.
was
You got rid of curling your hair, huh?
that was my daily action step yesterday.
I didn't write anything, but said, well, the curls are going. Too much twisting. uh this call was powerful, and I love that we were talking about objections, because just last night I was having a conversation about that. And really, if you're going into sales, you have to know if you're not already in it, and if you're in it, you already know. Objections are what will kill a sale. If you don't know how to handle an objection, that's where the rookies don't know how to answer, and clients just go away. And it's a flawless way of putting it, and I really loved it. Like I implemented similarly in Spanish. That's why I say similarly, because kind of like it sounds different. It's the same thing, but just the concept of those questions really deepen it. But I hadn't seen it with the, well, we're going 7 levels deep, because I didn't go 7 levels deep with myself. But I see how that would just be way stronger at clearing objections and helping the client get to where they need to be, and they probably are too scared to go.
They haven't found anybody that'll give them the confidence to do the unknown.
Exactly. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Sean. Very powerful.
You're welcome, welcome, welcome. Who else? Thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways, take with yous. What'd you learn? What'd you like?
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Selka.
And I know you doing outstanding.
Outstanding.
So I don't even have to ask now that I know this. I always love to learn how to deal with objections better, because as you said, it's so important to not just have the right questions to ask them, but to also do it in the right tone. And before I came here, my tone was always loud because I never thought of speaking softer. So I know this will help me a lot when I think of it, when I speak to any prospects, because yes, this is what there's certainly many objections, and I hope that we'll do in the mastermind an entire class on this. And what I love to do is actually role play. I think that's what really helps you a lot of getting it down, because practicing by yourself is not as, answering the objections as in practicing by yourself is not as powerful and as helpful, because you know exactly in your head what you're going to answer. Where if you role play with someone, it's so much more valuable, because you don't know what the other person is going to say. So you have to think and answer appropriately and work on that. And I think that is so important, because yes, it's all psychology. And I think that's one of the things that in network marketing, you're not taught a lot. And I think what is a big mistake, that we are taught to say to people, this is not sales, because we often get the objections. I hate selling. I don't like to sell. I don't want that type of business. So what network marketing has taught us is to say, oh, this is not sales at all. We're glad you don't know how to sell. And I think that is, hearing you speak, that's a terrible, terrible challenge for people, because they think they're not selling anything. They're only sharing. And I mean, why is it done that way? That's my question. I've not just heard it once. I've heard it from many leaders. I've heard it from trainers. Why? We are selling something. It is.
You want to hear the answer they use, or do you want to hear the truth?
I want to hear the truth, of course.
They don't know how to teach sales. Period. If they truly understood that this was sales, and they know it's sales, They would teach you sales. They just don't know how to teach you sales. They don't understand. They don't understand the psychology. They only go one level deep. Just share it. Well, sharing is still needs enthusiasm. Well, how do I get enthusiasm? DMP, right? All of this stuff. They do talk about set your goals.
Yeah, yes.
And if the why is strong enough, the how doesn't matter. So they tell you the how doesn't matter. The sale, you don't have to learn sales. Just go be passionate. Well, look what it got Christ. It got him crucified. I mean, truly, the passion of the cross got him crucified. He was passionate about saving the world. I'm glad he did it for us. I don't want to have to go get crucified.
I don't either.
So the reason they don't teach it is because they don't understand it. They truly don't.
It's a huge disservice, so you lose a lot
is.
of people that way. And when you do get the objection, I don't like to sell. What do you?
Oh my gosh, neither do I.
And
What do you like to do?
oh, I just love to work with people.
So if the sales part you put into my bucket and you just worked with people, would that be okay?
Yeah.
Cool. So if you introduce somebody and said, hey, listen, I've got something I'm pretty excited about, but I really don't know how to sell it. I really don't know how to explain it to the level it needs to be explained. Could I introduce you to Sean?
Yeah.
Cool. Now they don't have to sell. They get to introduce them to me and we start to do 1-on-10s, 1-on-15s. Just take what'll happen is once they realize how simple it is when they understand language and human nature, like, oh hell, I could do that. I thought I had to convince. What people could see sales as is convincing people against their will.
Yeah,
When
and I think that's one of the reasons people don't want to do it, because
No, they
feel
don't.
like they're forcing someone to do something or to buy something that they really don't want or feel they don't need.
So if somebody says they want to build a business, I'll say, hey, listen, can I take you through the process of how I teach people to build a business? You'll call it a sales training, or you'll call it getting started. But if I teach you how simple it is, I help you get started and you feel comfortable with it, would it be okay if you did the same thing with other people? As long as you feel comfortable with what I'm about to do with you and you feel good about it, would it be okay if you did it with other people? And what they're going to say is, listen, I don't want to have to teach you on Tuesday what the process is to help somebody get started. I'm going to teach it to you right now. And if you feel comfortable going through it, guess what your prospects are going to feel? Comfortable going through it. So it would be okay for us to get started.
Wow. Again, I love to have your brain. Because yes, it's all how you say things, and you come across so incredibly caring and sincere.
Because it's true.
Yes, I know, but
Because I literally, because I'm always setting the stage. Listen, if there's some secret I got to tell you on Tuesday of how we get people to join us in business, you're going to be pissed at me, aren't you? Well, yeah. So is it okay if we just have the conversation that I have with everybody who gets started? And if you feel comfortable with it, and I'm going to ask you when we're done, if you feel comfortable with it, you may not remember any of it. I just want you to wonder, at any moment, did you feel uncomfortable in this dialogue to help you get started to reach your dreams? Because if you do, then I have to get better. And I'm okay with getting better. Is it okay if I get better for you?
wow, I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you. Have an amazing day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And about 2 or 3 times a week, Brad, Michelle still asks, so how's Brad doing? She loves watching your journeys on Facebook with you and Heidi. So, and the new poodle doodle, whatever that's called.
Hey, can I say just one more thing before we wrap up?
Yes, AJ.
Sorry to cut you off. Shiitake. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay. So, the power of this.
Wow, really? No, shocking.
The power of this page right here. I'm not gonna say you wouldn't believe what happened, but this what happened. This is a true story. In the last couple of entries over the last couple of days, I've been writing down some
So
stuff.
you have what you're going to talk about, right? I'm not going to confuse you.
No.
Okay, good. Folks, if you're listening to this, this is 23 days into the process. These earth-shattering conversations are not at the end of the year of the program. This is 23 days in. Go ahead. I just love it. I love that it works. I know that.
You said that. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead, take 2 minutes, do this. On this January 18th, I had an entry about an apartment. Here it is. I said I wanted to find an apartment. I'm setting an intention to find an apartment that's new with new things in it, a garage parking spot around 500 or 600 euros, which will get well into my budget with the salary and the commissions. I'm sure the universe will provide me with a solution and apartment offer within the next 1 to 2 weeks. It will be exactly like I wanted, and it will come to me effortlessly. Yesterday, I go and see an apartment, right?
See, not even 10 days later.
Now, mind you, it's not exactly what I wanted, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close, right? So that's solved, right? I had an entry. Actually I had 2 entries, so back-to-back entries on USA, right? I talk about alignment USA, so alignment dash USA, that's the title of the entry. I go about, the thing I told you on Monday that it was, my friend called me up and he told me a couple of things about the States and so on. I go out there and everything I did that was in alignment with me going to the States worked like a charm. Suddenly there was no problem. They actually changed the law. The law was that you couldn't renew your passport if it was above 6 months before the expiry. And I learned in the police station that they changed the law recently that you can renew your passport whenever you want, so they can issue me a 10-year long visa at the embassy, right? And I told them this, and they're like, okay, sure, no problem. Just pay 40 bucks and that's it. So I paid 40 bucks. I'm gonna get my passport on Monday, the new one. Then I'm gonna apply for a visa with the new one, right? I go out there. Uh, the guy at the embassy tells me you have to be employed. So technically I'm unemployed because I get all my money in cash, right? I go to my mother because she has an accounting company, and I'm like, could you get me on the payroll? I will, pay you back through the bank or whatever. And she's like, sure. So she uh got me on her payroll like a year in retrospective. So when I show up to the embassy, I'm like, I'm working at a family business. It's a company that's been going on for like 10 years. It's a reputable company. It's my mother's business, whatever. So everything I did was in alignment with me going there. And then I talked to the Belgrade option. So right now, Sean will understand this, but for all the folks at home, I had a couple of business opportunities here that I wanted to explore before coming to the ranch, right? It turned out to be that even the offer in Belgrade was BS. And the offer in Romania is probably better, but still not what I'm looking for. So then here comes this entry, just titled USA. And I go to say, out of all the possibilities I had to choose, the USA is the one. Got back on my mom's company payroll, so I got insurance and job cover, getting my new passport on Monday morning and applying for a visa on Monday afternoon. I went out there, searched for a few opportunities, and it's really bad. They're scamming you, basically. So last night I made a decision. I'm going to focus on the recovery of my leg, stay with mom, so I don't have to pay unnecessarily. I don't have to unnecessarily spend money for rent money or whatever, right? I'm gonna pay her back the tax that she needs to pay because I'm on the payroll, and I'm gonna go all in for USA. I got job offers immediately for sales jobs in Chicago with my friend Andrew that's already in there. I met a guy that can take care of my ID and driver's license as soon as I land. I have a guy that's gonna help me out with my visa. I'm sure I'll get my visa approved in no time and be on my way to meet Sean and start my journey in the States. Feel awesome. Godspeed. This works, man. This whatever this kind of voodoo, kinesiology, whatever, voodoo, whatever works.
So a couple of things are
So
wildly important here. A couple of things are majorly important. You don't need to understand the formula to get the result. You just need to put the parts into the formula. You don't need to understand what ingredients it takes. You need to understand the syntax. I got to do this first. I got to do that second. I got to do this third. And I have to do this first, because if I don't do this and I do second and third, It just doesn't, the formula doesn't work. So you now understand that the formula works. What you understand is that, so we say things, a lot of us say things, and we don't get the result. It's not because of the say things, it's the Wallace D. Waddles. It's about doing them in a certain way. It literally comes down to the vibration behind the thing, the vibration, the intention of the word. People go all along, I'm going to be rich, I'm going to be rich. And their intention, they're feeling their vibration. It's, there's no way I'm going to be rich. I'm poor, I'm broke, I'm single, nobody likes me, I'm divorced, 1,001 things. It comes down to the essence of every thought, which is why if your predominantly, your predominant vibration is one of lack, and you need an affirmation to get you into abundance, and you temporarily put yourself into abundance when you're doing your gratitudes, or when you do your morning affirmations, and then the rest of the day you go back into lack. It is hard. It is impossible to make a momentary blessing exist in a presence of lack. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. I promise you, if you are in lack, abundance exists. If you are in pain, pain-free exists. If you are in frustration, excitement exists. It can't not. You are only the antithesis of what is possible at the extremes. If you are ecstatic, misery exists. We don't think that misery exists. When we're joyful and happy, we wind up sliding back down the scale over to here and go, see, I knew this would happen. And if you say, I knew this would happen, then congratulations, your thoughts, what you think about and think about, you are who you say you are. I may not always be outstanding, but I'm going to kick myself in the tuchus and say, I'm outstanding. Because if I have that presence, then maybe internally I can have that present. So it all comes down to the intention, and writing puts you in the intention. I don't know what to journal. Poor excuse. It tells me a lot about what you think of yourself. You can't even take the time to write who you believe you are. You're reading somebody else's book. Why not read your own book? Why not read your book? Otherwise, somebody else is holding your pen. Somebody else is holding the pen to write your book. They're writing your life. Take back your pen. That's all you're going to do is take back your pen and write, I'm writing my book. And what you're doing when you're writing, you're going from thought process 1, thinking 1 to thinking 2. You're going down to slower thinking. Writing is slower thinking. And the reason most people don't want to journal is because they don't want to slowly think about who they are, where they are, and what they are. I'm not telling you, tell me where you've been, tell me where you're going. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you really, 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 really want. Wow, you don't even have any hair and you're still trying to curl your hair. What the hell are you doing, Luis?
That's why I had to cut it. It's too intense.
That boy nervous. He looks like a narco. He looks like Pablo Escobar's godson, man. I'm just kidding. I love you, man.
Anyone else? Last thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways.
Morning, Sean.
Good morning, Mr. Brad Chambers.
I just want to thank you for
Oh, you're
being
welcome.
who you are, man. You changed my life.
Well,
Bye.
you did the
Showing me
changing.
yeah. By showing me the way, you helped me change my life. Absolutely. So I want to thank you for that.
You come a long way, Skippy.
Yeah. So I joined Toastmasters a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
and so now I'm going to international competition because they said you want to join the we have a contest coming up for speaking. I raised my hand and I said, look, I wrote in my journal this morning that I was going to volunteer for something that scares the crap out of me, and this scares the crap out of me. So please put my name down. So it's, it's different, Sean, when you've talked about Toastmasters, over the years, I've heard you mention it, and I've heard Dr. Wayne Dyer talk about it. And just when I got there, where I got the opportunity to take a stage for 7 minutes to share my story, it was different. You just like you said earlier, it's not about where have you been, where are you going. People will get emotional when you share with them where you've been, what you've been through, but that puts you in the same space as other people who have been through things. And what I've learned, Sean, from your teachings is taking that next step and being the leader in showing and sharing, this is what I dealt with, and this is how I overcame that, and this is how I have quantum leaped into a world that I didn't even know existed. You showed me that door, Sean. So I get choked up, man. I better stop talking. But I love you, and I really love watching what you're doing and seeing. I've been with you about 3-4 years now, man, and I'm 100% a different person than that guy you met in the parking lot. So
I love it.
thank you.
You're welcome.
What is one piece of advice that you could give me today based on what you see in my journey and what I just shared with you?
That it's okay for you to not have the crutch.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because we've gone through a lot, you and I. We've gone through a lot. And never once did I let you use the crutch.
And I wanted to hit you with the crutch sometimes.
I know, you a couple of metal chains and everything.
Hey, man, this thing can be used for more than one thing. Watch.
Poking, whacking, digging a grave.
Pouring Coke on shit.
Right? So I still have it on my cup. That's the sticker, TBI3.
Okay, I need you to please text me your physical address because the last thank you letter I sent you came back to me, and it's something on
Okay.
my part. So I
Okay.
have some stickers on my desk that have your name on it.
Okay, cool. I will send
So
it to you. I'll text it to
I've
you.
not forgotten about you, my friend. This recovered dramatic brain is on point, bro.
Right. And that's cool, right?
It is.
Isn't that
Oh
cool?
my God. It's possible. It's
So-
possible to be in a coma for 2 weeks and be dead almost and walk away ready to help change the world.
Yeah, one of the biggest pluses you could have is when nobody sees the scar until you let them see the scar.
Exactly. And then it's beautiful.
And when you go, hey, listen, by the way, I have this scar right here, which I don't have a scar. So if anybody's looking, but they go, oh my God, you have a scar. I didn't even know you had a wound. But when you speak from such a healed place, this is what Paulo Coelho in his book, Manuscript Found in a Craw, says, the scars you carry are stronger than the sword that made them. You now know what that means.
Can I share something else that I learned?
Yes.
Be careful. wanting scars. People say, well, people who are successful have always had something bad happen to them. I don't really have anything to talk about. Well, here's the deal, man. When you've had that, you have been chosen to be the crossbearer of situations that you have been there, done that. You have the trophy in your hand that says, I've done that and it sucked. And here's what I did to get out of it. But you have to be able to carry that load with you or lay it down, and not to get on that. That's a whole nother subject, but just to understand that, for example, I lost my daughter, for those of you who don't know, 10 years ago. And that's my scar that I'm not putting, it is what it is. A lady in our community walked in on her daughter had hung herself, and I had saw her the week before, the girl, and she had spoke to me, and it just, man, it was, Sean, when you feel something, it was the energy that way. She's like, good morning, Brad. And I just, I felt something. I couldn't remember her name, and it bothered me. And I said something to Heidi that afternoon. I said, Nicole said something to me, and I forgot her name, and I don't know why it's sticking with me. The next morning, we found out she hung herself. All that to say, that opened the door for me to be a friend to her. I'm not a savior, Sean. You're not a savior. You're just to be able to stand beside him in the same energy and help to raise that vibration to a level to where we are learning what this is about. And she came over to our house, and we visited probably 4 or 5 hours on a Tuesday, and then ended up going to dinner that night, Heidi and I, and was just visiting with her, and just Pandora's box open, just different things. And she's president of a community, of Sobo community down here that they're trying to grow. And she's like, Brad, I want you and Heidi, I want your energy here. And, just connection after connection after connection. And it's like in the state of awareness, Sean, watching it come together and not trying to control it, but just being aware and staying in state is wow. That's just all I know to say, man. It's wow. So after that conversation with this lady last Tuesday, the next morning, her friend called her. She walked in on her daughter hung herself. And then she was able to settle beside her and have conversations because she was in that vibration that we had just talked about. And to see that kind of reach is just amazing. But again, be careful what you ask for. It's amazing journey, Sean. I'm grateful to be on it with you.
I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of you sharing that, because we have to share our wins, right? We say, well, I really didn't do a whole lot. It's in the not doing a whole lot. Jesus said, pick up your mat and go home. Woke him up from the dead. Pick up your mat and go home. That's not quantum physics.
Yeah.
That's love. That's being present. Pick up your mat and go home. Let me put some mud on your eyes and see. It's really not doing a whole lot. It's about doing it from love. So, and you're in that state of love where you can finally begin to love yourself now, because there was a whole lot of doubt and fear. So,
yeah. You have to learn, you have to really know that new person that you are, right? I mean, you just said that. It just, because you're not used to the new, I had to name Bruce, put him in his spot, and that's helped me a lot to recognize, hey, Bruce, bro, love you and all, but you need to get back.
Go get your head shaved.
I'm bigger than you now, so you need to back off. Yeah,
but we are these identities, and if we don't separate them, we can't separate them, and we wind up being everything. We wind up being this blob, this kind of this venom that looks like in Spider-Man. It's always inside of you, waiting to just talk to you and go, I think I need to eat that person, right? No. Right? And you have no control over it unless you identify it and say, hey, listen, you just stay right there. I love you. Thanks for making me aware. So congratulations. This is huge. Of all of the people who thought they would have more challenges doing it, you were one of the ones that said that carried the torch of TBI and all that stuff. And my daughter died in the car and my son was saved by angels, and all that's still true. We've just changed the way we've looked at it. You've changed the way you've looked at it, and you've given yourself permission to do that. And that, from that state and from that place, is huge. And time after time, you keep getting rewarded, going, oh my gosh, sold the house in a day, bought the house in a day, the tree came down in a day, all these things that effortlessly.
You don't even know the last one, man. So it's kind of like when you're on the roller coaster ride, you're enjoying it. I couldn't give you feedback, like it's happening so fast. I was just hanging on for the ride, watching it happen. But we were trying to make a transition, and we weren't. And I got a letter or a card on my door, said, we want to buy your house. I'm like, I'm not selling. So then, like 2 days later, Heidi found a house that she wanted, that it just came out of the blue. And so I said, well, let's reach out to the people that contacted us. And this went on for a while, so I'm gonna keep it really short. It's amazing. So they ended up giving us a cash offer that was well above what the house was worth, which was able to open the door for the opportunity for another house house that we were going for, the inspections fell through. The electric, the plumbing, and the structure was all had some little things to work on. I'm like, Brett, that's not little things. And we had to walk. Another opportunity opened, a dream home. And we came in and it had been on the market for 90 days. Everyone was like, we have no idea why this house is still on the market. And we bought the house and they appraised it afterwards and it came in much higher than what we paid for it. And that is just a sample of what's just the things that are just happening, because it's not for me, Sean. It's for the higher cause. It's what are you, you said earlier, what are you going to do with the money? I'm going to create an environment to where it's unlimited what you can do with the money that you have available to you, and understanding I could go on for a long, long time. I've had a lot of this in my head for a while. So I know you got to go feed the sheep.
No, I love it. The sheep can wait. It's cold. They're not really hungry.
they're like, I don't want to get out of bed right now. So, I mean, it's just finding what you want in life and going for it. It's easier than what our own minds and the old way of thinking makes it out to be. And when someone tells, like Sean, you tell me this stuff, I'm like, dude, when I'm looking on this side of the fence, at that side of the fence, it's like, man, I get it. I want all that. I get what you're saying, but you're like, we'll just go through the door. I'm like, but it's locked, but it's not. It's not locked, right? Just go through it. And I know there's much more to that, but
there's not.
When
There's really not. When you go through the door, there's not. You're like, okay, well, just go. Now what?
Yeah, so I've figured it out, I think, but I haven't figured out how to put it into words.
That's good.
I don't know that there is words to
It really
put it
isn't.
into.
It's an essence. It's a knowing.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's change the way you look at things, or things you look at change. So you can take a situation and create whatever you want to with it. It's all in our mind. This morning, the paradigm shift, I never understood that. And man, once I understood that, everything aligns. It's very similar to a fitness plan, man. 100%. It's the exact same thing. Now that we're working as trusted advisors in manufacturing and building businesses and understanding culture, and it all goes down to people. I'm sitting in conference rooms yesterday, and I'm like, I sound like Sean Murphy, dude, because I'm like, okay, you have that. Well, it all goes down to people. People need to understand that they're valued. And you saying, and I'm telling the GM this, and I didn't tell him as you. I said, if I'm leading a company and I say to Joe Blow, who's working, the lowest job out there, hey, I don't pay you to be on Facebook. I pay you to work. You're not going to get the results that you want. You have, in understanding that, and it's the same way with ourselves in our self-talk and how I was talking to myself. Man, I literally remember days, Sean, looking in the mirror and giving myself the awfulest look, saying, I hate you. I hate you. Dude, that's as chills in my spine right now, just thinking that. I don't, looking in the mirror saying, I love you, dude. You're doing a good job, Brad. Keep it up. Because I have to listen to myself more than any of y'all have to listen to me. So why not talk good stuff? And then it just took a while. And every now and then Bruce shows up and says stuff that shouldn't be said. But we put him in his place, and we continue to do that. And it's just repetition. It's just like working out. It's just like going to the gym. It's just repeat. I've got several friends that want. Hey man, I want to get like you. I want to get cut. I want to bench ball. You have to do it. You have to make the decision. I'm here to help you, man. I'm here to help you. But until you make the decision, I said my mentor, I hated him for it. I didn't hate him. That's a strong word. I strongly despise what he'd say. Well, go meditate on it, or go read this book, and then come back and tell me what you think. I'm like, well, I'm paying you. Tell me what you think. You want, but he's teaching I appreciated it so much more because I went and got it. And when I thank you, Sean, you say you did the work. I did do the work. I did. And I'm grateful for that. I jam through myself daily. And I tell other people, you should give yourself credit for that. It's amazing how many people I talk to on a daily basis that are so down on themselves. And when you call them out on it, watch their smile. They're like, you're right. Wow. It's unheard of, but I hear it every day because that's what I'm starting to, try to feed myself the paradigm shift, putting things in there that will that's what's coming up next. It's like the preload for your next event, right? What you're putting in there is what's going to come out in the next. And if you're putting anger and hate and all these things in, and then I walk in and Heidi says something to me that I don't necessarily like, I'm going to flash right back to that. And I'm going to come out here guns blazing, and it's not going to work out well for me.
Congratulations.
I love you, son.
I love you too. And I'm proud of you. And I know you're proud of you. And you make us all proud of you. And because we listen, some of us saw this pig's ear that's turned into a silk purse. Right? You've done of anyone who's done the work, you've done the most because you've done it consistently. And Michelle is just so proud as a peacock of you. You're kind of her little student, her little trophy, going, look what he did. He does the work. And she knows he does the work. That's what she says. He does the work. And whenever I talk about somebody in the program going, man, they're just struggling. Well, I haven't talked to Brad. Brad's done the work.
Yeah. Well, and you can share this with her in my new role at the Oklahoma Manufacturing Alliance.
Yeah.
So I'm the manufacturing extension agent. Right after I hired on. So the headhunter told me, he said, Brad, you do me a favor within a year, I want to get a call from the COO that says, I want another Brad Chambers. Send me another Brad Chambers. He goes, that's how you can do me a favor. I said, okay. So fast forward 3 months, another guy just vanished, one of the MEAs in South Oklahoma. And there was a guy that I worked with at Ryerson, was stuck there for 30 years. Great guy, happy guy, but just stuck in a bad environment. Saw the opportunity, put his name in. He called the headhunter that hired me and said, hey, I need another Brad Chambers. So I connected him with this guy that had been where I worked for 30 years, and he hired him, and now they love him too. And they've opened the doors to me, and they're letting me create DocuSign simplicity, and add value to the organization. And I looked at my T chart. Oh, this is the other thing I want to share with Michelle. I looked at my T chart, and it had Ryerson, it had all these things that I was like, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this. And then all the things that I did want. And I'll be honest with you, Sean, I was being a little bit frivolous, but I freaking got it, dude. I love my job. Like, I literally work from home, make great money, doing what I love, talking to people, going around, talking about what I know about, learning, getting to go to Toastmasters. They're like, as much time as you need to work on your speed, whatever it is you need, your family comes first. If we ever find out that you're not at some event that's for your family and you're at work, then we have a problem. Like, all of the things are just like, bam, in my current portfolio of things that I wanted. Yeah, manifestation. There was a meme I saw online. I said, yeah, it's called manifestation. Look it up.
Now, listen, Selka just put up, wow, love your energy, Brad. This is the same guy 3.5 years ago wanted to hit me in the head with a wrench.
Well, because I told you I didn't need your help, and you kept trying to help me.
And it was over a dead battery in his truck, which was a brand new battery. And the thing that fixed it was a Coke. That's Coke and a smile.
Everything happens for a reason.
And then Heidi recognized me. She goes, are you the Sean Murphy that
Ray Higdon?
Ray Higdon talks about? I'm like, oh crap. Now what?
No, she said, I think I know you.
Yeah.
And we were like, what do you do? And you're like, oh, a lot of people ask me that. I'm like, oh, he's a dork. Then we go back to our room, and I had my journal, and I was journaling, and Heidi goes, oh my God. I'm like, what's wrong? She goes, I know how I know him. Ray Higdon. So then we start looking it all up and takes back. So we run down, and Sean's sitting in a little restaurant by the hotel. We go in there. We're like, give me some buck. Like, we know who you are.
And my sister-in-law,
It.
Michelle's sister, who thinks I'm the biggest goof in the world, two people that we just met in the parking lot come, we know you. Can you sign our book? Can we take a picture with you? She's like, who is Sean? How come I don't know him? His sister is like, that's the greatest thing ever.
Good. All good things, man.
I love you,
All
brother.
good
Thank
things.
you. So
L-
proud
love
of
you
you. Thank
too.
you for sharing.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you all. Love you all. Keep us good journey. Good journey. Good mastermind to be a part of.
So proud of you, Brad. I just have to jump in and say I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank
And
you.
Heidi, you guys, your energy is just over the top, and I love the journey, us being part of your journey. It's just
Aw.
been amazing. So I just
Thank
want to
you.
love you.
I love you too. I love watching being. It's fun being on a journey with you. Heidi and I, had many conversations about our trips in Arkansas and some of them curvy roads, and yeah, good times.
Love it, love it, love it. And so, folks, here, what you're hearing is from the people who have been here a long time, it works. You have to do the work. I'll match you step for step. You've got to do the work. And I'm going to guide you, because Brad's work is different than Diane's, different than AJ's, different than Louise's. But it's all the same. It's all about reaching a goal, reaching a desire, and it's overcoming procrastination, fear, self-worth. That doesn't change in the individual. The language you use, right? You hear the negative sources. Bruce, right? Wheezy, what's yours?
Megan.
Megan, right? So everybody's got this little negative version of themselves. And when you name it, like a dog, Tony Robbins says, what's the first thing you do when you get a dog? You name it, so you own it. You can own the negative instead of it owning you. Brad's is called Bruce. Hey, Bruce, good to see you, buddy. Why don't you go take a flying leap? And I love you. Thanks for making me aware. Go have a seat. But when you can say that, when you can verbalize that, it's amazing the freedom it gives you. So what you just witnessed is somebody who's had probably the most challenging work to do because of the situations and the stories he came from. When you hear the Paul Harvey rest of his story, how his daughter passed and all of those things, and dealing with his son in a divorce and an ex that just had some differences of thoughts. And one day he stood at the bottom of the steps and says, I appreciate you and your husband. I appreciate you for taking care of our son the way it does. And they thought he was lying. And that was a huge, all of these little things that, man, that doesn't seem like it's going to work. Man, it'll work for you. So that's my goal. My goal is to be your guide. You got to go do the work. I'll be your Sherpa. I'll carry the tanks. I'll carry the stuff. I'm okay at altitude. I'll work at altitude. I can work at whatever altitude you want. I've been there 1,000 times. But I promise you, this is not just a lunchtime conversation. This is about a lifetime conversation. And what you hear is the quantum leaps going, oh my God, they're lucky. They ain't lucky. They ain't got a rabbit. Listen, if they got a rabbit's foot, the rabbit wasn't even lucky. It lost a foot. My point is, if you're willing to go do the work, it is worth it work. You just saw his excitement. I got everything. What he doesn't know, or what he probably already heard, was when he said that is, Sean's going to go tell me to make another list. And I'd make another list. If you got everything on your list, it's time to make another list. Let the universe keep surprising you. That's all. I love you tons. I appreciate you. I'm your head brain training, brain scrambling. Get your wishes in this lifetime, not the next misfit. I'll see y'all where?
At the next event.
I love it, love it, love it. Somebody give me some Costa Ricas.
Pura
Pura
vida.
Pura vida. We love you, Mark. And some Lydias.
Peace
Be
with us.
Peace be with us all. And the queen of helping you get what you want, Jessie Lee Ward.
Boss
Lee.
Boss Lee, we love you. And a little white, fluffy Fifi.
Gurgly,
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 gurgly.
gurgly. We love
Gurgly.
you, little girl. All right, everybody. We will see you tomorrow morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Maybe some more sales training. Love you tons. Bye for now.
Love you guys.
Love
so
you guys. Bye.